Welcome back.
You should be ashamed. You should be ashamed. You should be ashamed.
Young man, it's starting to take over. We're going to start with a moment of silence for those that didn't. And then moving to the young man, my producer and myself, we pretty much know what our weekend looks like. It's pretty somewhat the same each weekend. But how was your weekend, young man?
My weekend. You know, when I started with that one.
I know. You caught in between the good that came from it and the stuff that's not so good. But how was your weekend before we launch into the week? Because some of that has got to be the week too.
Man, at a point, I'm getting so used to it. I started to forget. It's just I'm just stuck on being optimistic. I don't know how to explain it. It's getting to a point where it's just glad. As long as I'm still here fighting for another day.
I was about to say you're fighting. That's that optimism, huh?
Yeah, definitely optimism.
Yeah. So I mean, and I think that's the key thing is to have that optimism. But welcome back. It's been a busy week. It's been a busy week, guys. We've got a lot to talk about today. Mondays are strange days with Make It Make Sense Jackson. If you're new to us, and I know I met some people, over the weekend that'll be jumping on. I know we all meet people, so shout out. I had an amazing experience though, KP. I laughed because I was going to call you one, but I was like, I'm not bothering KP. But it was almost rejuvenation. And I don't think that's the word, rejuvenated. But shout out first off, so I had to pick up a rental car this weekend. So I went down to the airport and I had to go to Avis. And you have to understand that, that a lot of you all, if you don't know, we're now here, and I feel tired, but in a good way. We're now on, not here necessarily, but we're now on 5 days a week. And I think it's unprecedented. I think the young man and I, clap it up for the young man from Jack, but I think we're the first ones that are looking at a 5-day broadcast of a local talk show.
5 days.
You're on 5 days. We're on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday on 90.1. We're on Thursday and Friday at We Believe Digital. So we are now on main platforms 5 days of the week. And we promise you, even though we're playing around, we promise you can call us on election day. We said we'll spread our roots and we'll make sure that you have more access to us. So I think that you really should understand that those moves are for you. When we see that folks in high places start trying to make us be quiet, when senators call in and ask the radio station not to play us and not to let us say the things that we're saying, and when they're asked why, if it's the truth, when folks in businesses and in high places say, why are you letting those young people say those things, and they're asked, well, why is that a problem? It's true. When a fella called into the morning show and asked well, why are you letting him say those things about John Horn? You heard a lead radio host and a leader of this station say, well, Mayor Horn needs to come on and respond for himself. That's the pressure we've applied together as a community, not just me and the young. That's the pressure we've applied. A year ago, John Horn would be able to call and get us out of there easy. He would be able to get us out of here easy. Anyone with that type of power in Jackson would be able to get us out of here easy. You made that impossible. The young man too, but you all made that impossible because you changed the price on information. You told them we're going to listen to them no matter what you're trying to stop us. As a matter of fact, let's be real. The more they try to stop our voice, the more you made sure you listened. The more you passed the word on, the more you forwarded. And that's why that Make It Make Sense Jackson was such a big thing on Facebook. We are not technological wizards, and we don't trust this message with other people. It's the three of us, and now we're stretching out. But that Facebook was so important because I wanted to make sure that you all had a chance to get to us if folks ever decided our voice was speaking too much truth for you to hear. And thank God now it doesn't matter whether you hear from us on a balloon and we're in Belize, we can still jump onto our Facebook page and run through you as well as our radio station, as well as running over another platform. This is what true idea or thought revolution looks like. Making sure that the people have access to the information no matter what. Because a weakness is not letting us get this information.
Not only have we on 5 days, it's also most of the time, we find a lot of ways to communicate with y'all. Whether it's making an article, making a video,
yes,
putting it on all the social media sites. rather than us being, you know what I'm saying?
And if you're listening to that, to the young man when he's talking about it, you haven't gone to our Facebook page.
Oh, yeah.
I have one that's up recently that the young man and I put together that's called It's Almost Over. It's almost over now.
Yeah.
I use that thing here. Go look at that. Go look at that. It's the soundtrack. I love the soundtrack. It's a sad, melancholy soundtrack, but it shows you everything that's happening in your city with no fanfare, right? No, just facts on a newspaper screen.
A good head start for you to learn about what's going on. So, you know, some people don't like to look it up on your own, but we're giving you it.
That's right.
You can look at that and be like, okay, where do I go from here? Now you can kind of catch up with what we at.
That's right. That's right. And what we do is this newspaper articles. If you go on to Facebook right now and scroll down some, you'll see that what it just does is a slides from an article who supported the current administration and the folks in there, what they got in return from it, and how it affects you. And if you don't want to know that, then that's going to be the root of the problem. To the young man's point.
I don't know if we can get more simple than that. You know?
No, not at all. Not at all. So yeah, that's a big thing. So we're here, and that, of course, that means it doesn't really mean more investigation for us. I'm not gonna lie. It doesn't really mean more work for us until we get on air. Because a lot of times the show ends and we got a lot to say to you. There was a lot of people that thought at this point we would have a morning show, we'd have a 2-hour block, we'd have more time. But again, unfortunately, you got to understand how damaging the truth can be. Truth reaches out into places where you didn't know it was going to go. It reaches out into your friend, your pastor, your imam, your lawyer, your judge, your friend, your acquaintance. And it just, its tentacles go deep. So you got to have people whose goal is the truth.
Well, how does it come back to them?
Well, we're one conduit, and to your point, in a lot of things, the young man is smiling, right? Because he should have that pride. Let me tell you what the young man says. He says that people in my city wouldn't know stuff if we didn't bring it to them, certain things. And I'll always humble. Well, you know what, they might not have, but I'm not going to be tell him to humble himself because he digs hard. And so let's give an example. The tiny home story. Everybody knows that the tiny homes, the previous administration had planned 60 tiny homes to try to address the homelessness in our area. The mayor Horn and this administration canceled it. We do want to know where that 2.9 million is going because there was money attached to it. Now, it looks like they're going to take that 2+ million and give it to a consulting firm to consult about the homelessness now. So we went from building 60 homes to now we're going to consult with a firm called Church, I believe, and I'll pull it up. Churches for them to take a look at it, and they've done Houston, Atlanta, all the places that have been gentrified heavily, and a lot of them by the same people. A lot of them by the same people. They've gone to each of these areas afterward. This group, I'm going to pull them up, and they actually they help the homeless people utilize. Hold on a second. Here comes that Mississippi Shuffle. Utilize their federal dollars more efficiently. Homeless people gonna be in somebody's basement. They're gonna be in someone's farm somewhere while they're taking that
Student
money.
loan for the homeless.
You said a student loan for the home. That's exactly what it's like. But whether you're going to get an education or not is different with this. What they're going to do with the homeless folks once this happens, they need that money because now it's federal funding. This is like the pandemic. You see, the opioids.
And the water crisis.
And the water crisis.
And what's the other thing they just did? The winter storm stuff.
Yeah, the winter storm. They told Northern Mississippi, you're not getting nothing. That's for us. We'll hold on to that. So this is, but with our community. So mind you, if you are listening to what I'm talking about right now, you may say to yourself, well, I've never heard of what he's talking about. I didn't know that I knew the mayor canceled the tiny houses, but I didn't know that he was planning on giving that money to an independent company to study what was happening. Well, you didn't know that because it was not in a newspaper that you can access for free. I want to say that again. You didn't know that Mayor Horn was working with a Houston-based company, and I'm pulling it up now, to now give them the money that was going to be put to those tiny houses to address the homeless situation in Jackson. I'm talking about these are folks from Jackson in a homeless situation. They said there's approximately 300 consistently homeless people, residents of Jackson. So 60 houses was just biting into that. So you're talking about your friends and your family and your loved ones, our community that hit on a hard time. You will get 60 houses to make it better for our community. That was canceled, and instead, that $2+ million is being given by Mayor Horn and the administration to a firm, a consulting firm. Please understand, consulting firms don't act, they consult.
Right.
They tell you what to do. So we've gone from knowing what to do and having a plan to being told, to paying somebody to tell us what a new plan should be. So we canceled the old plan. That's almost like you had a plan to build a house. And it was a good plan. It was a good plan. It went through don't forget the small village or the small houses idea, when touted by the previous administration, went up against a lot of pushback. They fought through it. People were like, okay, well, we do like the idea of housing homeless. We don't like this. They had worked through it, right? A lot of folks agreed, at least we're helping. So we went to cancel something that everybody agreed could help, to pay somebody to give us another plan now.
It's a pattern of that.
Yeah, it's a big part. Mississippi Show ain't the first time it's happened. You know, we without a finger how many times that's happened in Mississippi. This you make church. You know what I'm saying?
This is that shuffle. Yeah, man, you're right. Keep talking. This is that shuffle. You absolutely can.
With the skate park situation.
Yep.
That was something else.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
But at least this time they're trying to at least look like they're gonna give you something. I don't know, a plan of some sort. They didn't just dismiss it like they did the skate park.
No, they're going to give that money to one of their friends rather than just cancel this. So this how was it? This W. To Dee's point, with the skate park, they just canceled it because under the old mayor, they could just claim anything under the old mayor was tainted. And we had to shut it down because it wasn't set up. I mean, but now you're talking about you're talking as if you're going to do something for us. So let me give you some of the keys to it, because again, you're not going to get to this article. And that's something that you're going to have to decide if you're okay with, right? Jackson man John Horn has partnered with a Houston-based consulting group to address the city's homelessness issue. The initiative aims to coordinate services and house approximately 300 chronically homeless individuals. The plan will be funded through a mix of public and private money, including repurposed federal housing funds.
Public and private.
It makes this make sense. So you go steal from the people that don't have housing. You just kicked 100 people out of Blossom. So you're going to take from there, even though Mississippi has 1.2 billion in cash right now from not giving black people nothing through the pandemic, or poor people anything. Just holding on to that cash. They're cash flush.
Yeah.
So you're going to take from the housing, affordable housing, where we've got nothing but slums going throughout Mississippi, so that you can open up. All you're doing is moving homeless people into section.
That's what they're gonna do.
Are you serious? So all you're doing is taking money that was already there for affordable housing, moving shelters people in, but what's going to happen to the people that were next in line? Now, you got. This is what our people. This is our black leadership coming up with this.
With the crumbs.
So the homeless person right now that's been on a list, they're probably. You know what? You know what's even worse? They're probably just going to put the next person on the list in. They've been waiting anyways. They did nothing special for them. They're just going to take them people and they're just going to push them into a spot and say, "Look what we did. We did our job."
They're gonna say we need to give the slumlords more money to fix their stuff up.
That's what you're problem. Now all of a sudden this is great. That's right.
It's an issue now.
You starting to get it now because some money is coming in with its federal funds. That Mississippi Shuffle we've been talking about with this young man since we started talking about this. Now you're starting to catch on to it. It started with the Freedmen's Bureau. The Mississippi Shuffle started with the Freedmen's Bureau, Jackson State, Valley, Alcorn. I hope you professors are listening, because I know you know more than me about it. You're just not saying it, because I'm asking your students on a regular basis. By the time after a year I get comfortable enough to say this to you all as professors, you got to understand how many students I've talked to know how it's being phrased. So they got to understand that Mississippi Freedmen's Bureau was the beginning of stealing federal funds and not giving it to the Negroes. And that's how we'll survive, because we don't know how to do anything else except enslave, be violent, and get what we want that way. Rape, rape and breed. It's the same thing, because you can't breed. You're raping these women, or having their children rape them, having their sons rape them with bags over their head, however you want to look at it. This is the type of evil that Mississippi did before Reconstruction. And if you want to dispute that, any of our, we've got right folk left, 601-948-5950. If you would like to stand up for your practice or your ancestors before 1960, well, hell, 1960, you killed, you let the KKK lynch 2 teenagers right up the street and didn't do nothing about that. So I wouldn't even say 1960. I would say until the recent future, where you realize there's CCTV everywhere and you can't do it that way. But are you teaching the children about the fact that this is what the game is? The game is to bring federal funds in for black people, for the descendants of enslaved Africans, and then take that money and give them nothing.
First of all, the first step is to put them in a bad situation. You got to cause the harm.
Take us back a step. Take us back a step. Because first you got to cause the harm, my brother. First you got to cause. You enslaved the people. You beat them. You make sure they couldn't read. You make sure and then you go in there and okay, well, we're going to solve the problem. You bring the Freedmen's Bureau in here, and then you take all the money away.
Oh, you can't read. Let me charge you books for you. You know.
That's right.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You want to know how to cook? Let me charge you to be a chef.
But they're not going to even teach you how to cook in Mississippi. That's the difference. Mississippi going to take that whole bag. So let me give you a quick example of it if you want to know what it's like. It's like you are McDonald's, one McDonald's, and you don't have to give anybody any food for their order. but they still flowing through the same numbers.
Yeah.
That means you walk in with nothing, open the door with nothing, turn on the lights, you have not one bit of food, and they have to come through your line. Black people have to deal with Mississippi. They have to come through your line and be counted. Stand up and be counted in the census.
So-
You can't deny that.
No matter how much they complain about their food not being given to them, they still make money off of them.
That's the key. Your leaders aren't complaining about that.
That's
Your
what-
leaders sat in Jackson City Hall, screwed up.
That's what the handlers
board. Your whole 7 members of city council. These are your district representatives. These are your state representatives. This is your mayor. This is your city council. That's why I say their names. You all's names, my brother, because you can always do better. I've been some bad places, right? What's that? Listen and do not judge. I've had that time in my life. So you all can all do better when I'm talking to you. All you got to do is decide. You could go right to Hennepin tomorrow and say, hey, listen, man, I didn't say this before, but don't ever make a sweeping statement like that about folks that have been through as much racism and oppression as these people have been. That city hall that you sat in and said that was built by enslaved ancestors. Don't you ever come into a black city and tell this whole city that we have a culture of not wanting to pay. Boy, we got money. We got a tab that runs so deep in Mississippi. Don't you ever open your mouth coming from Hampton, Virginia, and come up here and say that these black folk got a culture of what? We got a culture of not being paid our debt. That's what we got a culture of in Mississippi.
Right.
Let's talk openly. We got a culture of private white institutions stealing Jackson public schools and every other black public city, public schools money and putting big jumbotrons up. And I don't know how you white folks sit up there and keep saying that you go to church and you're comfortable. A lot of times I leave that out because I'm working on us building ourselves. But I have conversations all the time, and there's good and bad in everyone. But listen, you're an accessory to the crime. If you live in Madison, Richardson, if you live in Leak, if you live in Pillow, you in these places just raping these black school districts and you just sitting by talking about we want school choice, you know just what you're doing. You're going to hell along with the rest of them.
Where that money coming from?
That's just a little shout out to you. And you ones that are 75, 80, I know you don't think you're about to check in. Please don't listen to your preacher. Take a quick moment to talk to you. Your preacher is lying to you. He is lying to you for you to put money in that coffin. Sir, man, you are not going to heaven. You sat by watching as they drain this city. You go to Redeemer Church and you think this is the type of leadership that's going to lead you to him? To that big purge? I don't think I'm necessarily going. I got a lot more to come back from. So this isn't judgment. This is reality. What you even praying for if you're a Mississippi, especially as a white person in Mississippi that has some power to say something, to tell the secrets. You think when I talk about black people, those people are under the weight of the world, but that weight of the world is nothing compared to their ancestors. So they should be standing up. But you all have no weight on your shoulders at all. So if you ever chime in as a Caucasian here in Mississippi, you have a legacy of being an accessory to a crime. No one, because people don't feel like you're going to change anything anymore, doesn't mean the evil doesn't exist. And there are good folks every day in your own race that stand up and fight. So if you're thinking of Blake, quite a few people that you can watch and see what it looks like to help resist against evil. Someone was in your house about to rape your daughter. Would you need any help to understand how to stop that?
Would you abstain?
Yeah. Would you abstain? Would you need anybody to tell you how to help? If your neighbor next door to you, that was happening to them, would you need anyone to tell you how to help? It's amazing how white folk in Mississippi get confused at how to protect black people when they're under attack here. By police, by sheriffs, by anybody. They just get so confused. But you pull them over there. What the hell are you pulling me over for? They know that they have a privilege that's there. But why you only see a handful that stand up, but you just hear so much religion. Make it make sense, Jackson, Madison, Risdon, Pearl, Rankin County. I didn't know that they called it stinking Rankin because of water stank. I always thought they called it stinking Rankin because of racism. That was, yeah, they called it stinking Rankin.
Smell better than it used to.
Yeah, it smells.
But it's still
yes, sir. Well, I call it stinking Rankin because of racism. And just his legacy. But yeah, I didn't know that. But yeah, these are the things that happen. So you see people look down, and I saw someone on my page say, yeah, leaders need to do better. I'm like, man, you're stealing. If you live in Madison, your entire city was built off of stealing from people. For the most, I'm not saying in its entirety, right? That's a sweeping judgment. You get what I'm saying? Yeah, there's a lot of, and then that's why I always get so bothered by black folks that go into Madison. It's almost like I steal your car and then I drive around it while you walk in and make fun of you. That's what black people in Madison that talk bad about black people in Jackson sound like to me.
Yeah.
They sound like someone that stole someone's car, then drive around in that stolen car. Maybe they didn't steal it. Maybe their white friend in Madison stole it, right? So I'm being realistic. Their white legislative friend stole it. They get in that car, then they ride around highfalutin with their noose around their neck. Oh, look at them in Jackson. They're so ignorant. In the back of a stolen car.
Right.
That was stolen by your ancestors, oppressors, and you have the nerve to talk down. I don't ever judge folks want to get relief. I'm just saying I never judge folks wanting relief. That's not what this is about.
But to have the attitude.
To have that attitude. Sometimes you just go through trauma. You are shell-shocked in the middle of our communities because of everything that's coming at you. You need to. That's not what this is about. This is about when you jump back on the page and like, that's why I left. Wow. So but you're talking to the people that oppressed you. Talk about that's why I left.
You moved in next door to the one that did it to you, but that's why you left. All right. Okay.
All right. Now the key that we were talking about here.
That's why I said don't come back.
Yeah, don't come. Good.
Stay gone.
Yeah. Stay gone. Stay gone. They're hurting you more than helping you. Now the key that I'm talking about here with this article. Let's go back to this Clutch Consulting Group. So I know, and I. This show going on Monday, we all over the place, right? I'm all over the place. I'm not going to blame you all. But I started this show by giving a shout out going down to Avis. Remember picking that car up, and it was a young comrade in line, a young sister in line, and I was trying to, I said, "Hey, how you doing?" I made some comment, and her face was like, "What?" And, I talk fast, right? And I was like, "Geez, okay, nothing." And then she said to me, she said, "My bag, I wear my looks on my face sometimes." And I was like, "Nah, my bag, I talk really fast and expect people to understand me sometimes." And we sat there and we turned out to be, in terms of comrades for this movement, kindred spirits. So shout out to you, sister, if you're listening. I don't know if you got a chance. I know you work a lot, but she was young. And we had a conversation that was deeper in terms of breaking relational, like generation. It was just so deep where she was talking about how our own food, how we need to grow, what our leaders are doing or not doing, and so intelligent. And it changed my whole weekend. And it made me realize that, I would like all of our people to get on board, but our youth are enough. They're strong enough, they're good enough, they're capable enough, they're intelligent enough, they're actually loving enough in spite of what they went through. They're mature enough, they're dedicated enough, and it just resparks your feeling of understanding. We got some leaders coming right here. Same way with you, young man. We always say you are the future of this. That just made me feel great because it let me know that the young ones are sitting up there, chest out, and they're ready. And we started talking about our leaders.
All we gotta do is set the table.
All we gotta do is set the table. And our leaders, we were holding our leaders accountable together. There's a new day, especially when these youth catch on to this message. And if she listens and passes it on to one student at JSU Valley State, then they start demanding from their professors, "Hey, Professor, tell me again about the Civil Rights Act, but this time talk to me about the civil rights and then go right into the heart cellar." Right? When they said, and then tell me how those two are tied together in your mind. Then what's going to happen is going to be a lot of Black history professors getting fired because them students are real, right? They raw. So when they say something like, I don't see the correlates. I think that's divisive. You know what? They're going to put you online. They're going to put you online immediately. Listen to what my professor said. They don't play that. We are not our ancestors. They don't mean that in a disrespectful way. They mean that their ancestors fought for them to be able to fight back harder, and they're going to take every freaking inch of it. They're going to call you out. They're going to hold you accountable. So yeah, that was the great moment. The downside to this story is that the story that we're talking to you all about, which is the mayor canceling the $2+ million in little houses to address homelessness, and instead we're assuming moving that money to Clutch Consulting Group services. Clutch, like the clutch on a stick shift. And I'm saying that so you all can look them up. And next time we talk, hopefully you all can call in and tell me what's good, right? Tell us what's good or what's bad about them.
It's like every time he gets some money, he throws it.
Oh, I was waiting for you to say it. God, on this, here go that, here go that. You know what?
Hell, do you take it?
Respectfully,
nothing you
here
take.
goes that crackhead behavior. No, sir, you can't listen. I don't know how you feel about it, but you're not going to sell away every cash-making asset out of the city, and we not calling you a crackhead. Not you, I'm talking about the movement.
I smoked the TV, mama.
I smoked it, mama, the Gator. We're going to start calling them Gator. When moves like this happen, Mayor Gator, that's what you are today. You Mayor Gator. And if you don't know who Mayor Gator is, then go ask your daddy or your uncle, right? And I'm just humble that you listen if you don't know who he is.
Wait for it. He'll start doing the dance, too.
He gonna start doing it. No, you already listen. He did it when he was a little leprechaun doing the St. Patrick's Day parade. He was on the back of the car just wiggling away in a all green outfit. God damn, this man can show off for anybody but us. I swear to God. Get me off here. This man had a whole green. Where did he get the green? JW, J West? Shout out back in the day. Where'd you get that matching green leprechaun outfit from? And first off, that was cool. The colors were together. He was on the back of the leprechaun doing that little Republican throwing the candy stuff out. And I'm like, bro, you can show up, but as soon as it's something to do with us, you cancel it. Sometimes they're gonna be calling because he got a black suit coming, so you got a black, cancel it. No, sorry, it's your suit. He cancels everything that has to do with black folk in Jackson.
Goodness.
601.
When he's trying to throw candy out the car,
He was ready to throw that candy. If you're new to the show, please notice the silence and please know that humbly we have a lot of people listening to us and respectfully we appreciate you all. But the silence a lot of times comes from the fact that a lot of this information is talking to the people. We are not that bright. We are not, the young man, is a little brighter than I am, but we are not that bright. It's talking to the people. When you talk to people for 5, 6, 7, 10, 12 years, and they say the same thing about somebody over and over, that person's taken from us. That person's hurting us. When you and I won't name where, when you go from here to the Delta, Briston, Flowers, you go all around, and people, black people, I'm talking about, and I'm talking about the working class black person struggling. We went Flowers, they all say the same thing. These Negroes ain't getting nothing for us. By the time you hear my voice, I'm pissed at listening to them complain about what you're not doing for 40 years. Then you'll hear me and think I done got a wedge up my butt for you. I don't at all. I woke up happy. That's the worst thing. You know how many hours go between I drop my baby off and when I got to talk to y'all? You know how much these Negroes do between that time? That we are forced. Do you know how many good news stories we have of JPS students getting 13 scholarships? But when the people, and this leads to this, when the people don't know that our mayor has canceled a $2.9 million contract to build tiny homes for our residents that are going through struggles, and instead gave that money to Clutch Consulting. In WLBT, nothing. WAPT, nothing. Mississippi Today, nothing. The only place I found it was on something called Giants Wire and USA Today. And the only other place it was actually ran was the Clarion Ledger. But guess what? If you don't have any money, you don't get to read the Clarion Ledger online. And that's the Mississippi Shuffle. And it's happening in 2026. So if you're in California, my brother from California, you got folks in Georgia, will understand that newspapers are somehow colliding or just feeling the same way at the same time. That when certain information comes out about our money, only one newspaper runs it, and that's the Clarion Ledger. And they charge you.
Behind a paywall. Yep.
That's what you call it?
A paywall.
Yeah, paywall. That's right.
Man, you want to learn how to get through it? Well, holla at KP.
Holla at KP's cousin, RP. Let me start coming here, man. That's RP that you can holler at. but peep this. What was it? 1966 that with the 1960s, WLBT was fined and almost taken off of air because they were not balanced in reporting about the civil rights movement.
They're back to
doing the same tricks. So the second half, we go into calls. We need some of y'all folks that was here in the 60s when WLBT was banned for doing the same thing so these young people understand this is not something new with them. Frank lost it, the black ownership left. Now, you're right back to the same thing. And what they think is a lot of you people think that black ownership is still there. Because some of us did.
As I said before, like I think it was a year ago, Meg Evers, I said I feel like they helped Meg Evers get killed because they won't let certain things be allowed on there, so they let them boys come on there and say a lot of stuff about Meg Evers.
That's right. This is WLBT, guys. The same group that decided this. The same ones, though, that did that to push the atmosphere to that dangerous place for Meg Evers. Yeah. They seem to be at shooting scenes like they part of the shooters team. Mm-hmm. Like they shooting themselves, busting at people, and they doing a report. Pop, pop, pop. Oh, live on State Street. It's gonna shoot. Like that's how much they can let you know when violence is happening. But you're telling me that the mayor canceled the small houses and now has moved that money in here. Clarion Ledger has. We're gonna put the Clarion Ledger article up on our page because I paid for it. That's our commitment to you. And believe me, I didn't know that my daughter could get money to get ice cream at school. There's a lot of moments I wish I had that $3 back. I know it's not a lot, but there's moments that I had it back. I'm not rich, but we paid for it so we can make sure we get all the information. So to slow it down, WLBT back in the 60s was not reporting what was really happening to African Americans here during the civil rights movement. So much so that they were actually not just fined, but they were actually, where's my bad reporting tab? I have a tab on it. They were, I think that they were actually either removed.
They were stripped of.
Yeah, they were stripped. That's right. That's right, my brother. They were stripped of their titles, of their credentials as a legitimate news reporting agency because they did not report. Now you have WLBT in 2026, WAPT. Now, this is the same WLBT that has a contract with Jackson Water. So now when you understand their intentions,
a large contract.
A large contract where they run their commercials, but they're also the ones where they bring Hennepin on to get the truth so they can push out to the people. But there's how is that not conflicting? I don't know, but I'm not an expert in that field, right? They're also the ones that Mayor Horn would go to instead of going to Tougaloo in Jackson State. That should have been our first heads up. Refusal to go to HBCU to debate when the students are calling for it. That's your first flag, something's wrong, right? But when he wouldn't go there, he went on WLBT and talked on there, right? And now WLBT does not tell us about Mayor Horn canceling a plan for 60 houses. If nothing else, we knew 60 families were going to be housed out of them 300. That's almost, a third? a third of Jackson's complete homeless population would have been housed. My math is horrible, but it's a lot.
You can probably round it to a third.
To a third, okay? So that was the previous plan. Not saying there weren't any great parts, not saying you don't see any flaws to the last plan, but a third almost of Jackson's homeless community would have been housed. Our resident, not transient, our resident homeless community would have been housed. So we went from that to giving 2+ million, is that what we're gonna do? To a consulting agency that has been in Atlanta.
I wonder who owns it and who they donated to.
That you know we're gonna find it out. You know the next
That's
entry,
it.
right? It must be over soon. You're gonna hear that music coming on. You already know what it is.
We'll see where them donations went. Let's see how.
And the key with this is that their Clutch Consulting Group, right? And he gave this announcement at Hartley's Ward 5 meeting. So there's been plenty of time for WLPT or WAPT to pick this
I
up.
mean, like last week,
Last week, yeah, you got over on me for a few days too. Usually I'm pretty crisp on my research. Yeah, last week.
This how long you talking about?
This is how long you're talking about. Yeah, we haven't yet to see. So you wouldn't even, Jack, I have a subscription and I missed it because it was buried. And that doesn't mean that please understand, we don't have a problem with Mayor Horn making a plan. We have a problem with him always being so sneaky with it. Putting stuff on next door or you, at a certain point, there can't be but so many I didn't knows. I didn't know I called them fickle and uneducated. I didn't know I told them to be happy with the crumbs. I didn't know they couldn't all afford Clarion Ledger. There can't be, but I didn't know that they were going to get kicked out after 5 days. I didn't know I could get them more than 5 days. But you sat in on it. There can't keep being I didn't knows. And you get bothered, but you know why people have stopped saying give him a chance? Remember the first 3 months of the show? It was give him a chance. You don't want to give him a chance anymore because you saw what their chances did.
It's a pattern.
Give me an inch, I'll take the whole track. That's what you saw. Give me an inch, I'll take the whole track. And that's what you're stuck inside in the middle of now.
What happened to the we don't like troll baby? What happened to the energy? Like y'all could have took the energy and just reversed it on them. Like, I don't understand what's going on.
It was too much hope, man. That hope is a dangerous drug, man. Hope versus acts is just dangerous, man. Give me them acts of faith all day, man. That hope. And you're gonna let another man, as a grown man, you're gonna let another man is still hoping you to that level. And I'm not talking about day one, it's still hoping me day one. But year 40, I'm sorry, but I don't know. You at that point, you're in a relationship with that man or that woman. That's your daddy. Or how would that's your daddy. If you're gonna let 40 years in, 30 years in, you're gonna let another man convince you to do the same thing and expect a different result.
You're an accessory at that point.
You an accessory. That's your daddy, man. That's your daddy or that's your mommy. Just call him daddy. Don't say no last name. Just call him daddy. You know, I don't do that as a man. You know, I don't think my wife don't like to do that as a woman. You know, we all had one parent, right? That's who our parent was, whether they're here or not. And if they wasn't there, that was that chance, buddy. That was that chance for me to call you daddy. But you grown men out here up to 70 and grown women, talk to the men, calling these men daddy, because you're letting them affect your children, your grandchildren. Then when I talk to you, talk about, oh, my nephew, man, he in trouble again. Yeah, you think? You sat there for 30 years and let that man do nothing for you. Now your grandchildren got nothing. These are the conversations we have to have. We're creating a record. So even if you don't stop what you're doing, it'll be on record. So just to summarize that up so we can jump into the next, you have WLBT going back to their 1960s ways that got them stripped of their credentials by refusing to report on anything but the most offensive things against the black community. So they can report on every shooting that happens, but they can't say one thing to you about Mayor Horn consulting with Clutch Consulting Group and canceling the 2+ million that was going to build the houses. And instead, we're going to pay somebody to tell us a new plan. We've canceled a plan that was decent to have somebody in and tell us a new plan, and then watch Mayor tell you we can't afford that new plan.
I ain't got it no more.
We ain't got it no more at that point. So these are things, I mean, I think that as we look at kind of everything that's happening, you know, I think that the city council is deciding just weird stuff, man. Like Monday's Monday weird day. The city council came to a decision about offering rewards for catching business burglars. Right? And we want to keep business in Jackson. Let me start by saying that. I don't have as much of a problem. We don't have as much of a problem on the surface as you think. The problem is sometimes people just try to get a win. They don't really plan on doing anything for the people. So they try to do the smallest thing that they could possibly do that can look like they're doing something. You talking about a furniture business. The name of the business. So when I pulled this up, first off, they came up this year. So with every problem you're dealing with as a Jackson resident, this is what you have to understand. The city council came together on March the 12th of 2026. Instead of thinking of ways to help you with your water bill or other ways, they came together to say, we need to find out who burglarized Martin's Furniture and Appliance.
When?
2 years ago. In 2024, I pulled the article. March of 2024 is where the burglary took place. What are they doing? Who are they talking to in their ward when they decide that this is the top priority for Jacksonians? Who are you talking to when you decide that the owner of Martin's Furniture is the top priority, getting his stuff back is the top priority for Jacksonians? Not to say folks didn't buy furniture, they've been there 60 years. I take a look into the practice and see if it's good furniture. You can tell me that. If you've had fair deals, if you were treated right, then you were. But how is that a top priority for the city of Jackson, Mississippi? A burglary that occurred 2 years ago. So they take $2,500 and they're going to offer rewards just for these businesses, that and one other business, just for those cats. This doesn't make your business protector. Eddie's Barbecue don't get safer. It doesn't help more small black businesses get business license. It does, excuse me, it does nothing for us. All it does is say we're offering an award if you can get this white man his stuff back.
Trying to get you happy with moral victories. It's symbolic. That does nothing for anybody.
How a house bills created? Like they got to go to the House of Representatives. Like they got to come up with an idea. Like
If you ever want to look good online on air, do not get on with KP. Because he's going to drag you down with him. So he'll know you don't know it. It's like, AT, how do you do the calculus out of like, on air, huh, KP? No, but you got to take it to, it goes, yeah. See, we had a class where we had songs, KP. No, but what did you ask me? You said, how does a bill get to the House?
I'm looking at it. It says it has to go to the House of Representatives. It's a proposal.
Yes. Yeah, I did. They're representative parts. I didn't know. It has to go through the House.
So I'm saying, well, I'm looking at the part where it says it has to be the process of making a bill from an initial idea, right?
Yes.
What I'm finding is that, like, if we like a rate case, right? So they propose a new idea to pitch off the rate case to prevent this from happening next time. You see what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
So are they coming up with all these new bills and stuff? Well, what's stopping them from piggybacking off the rate case bill? You know what I'm trying to say? Like,
In terms of hurting us?
yeah, like as a whole. If you got a lot of black representatives. Oh,
No. I think you're starting to catch on to how they use one ordinance and then one when, like the water. We're gonna have to merge into it eventually. Like you even look at the water takeover, and you look at how Virgie Lindsay, a long time ago, before it even looked like this, introduced the CCID first. And then it turned into what it turned into, to your point.
Right.
So absolutely, I think you got to be concerned about the state of Mississippi building off of any legislation they put forward and using it as a weed or a seed to grow into a bigger way to take something from you. 100%. I think you're starting to understand how they work, even
because this is the only one thing. I'm not. This just hasn't happened in Jackson. This happened in Atlanta, another predominantly black state, Detroit, Memphis.
right. That's right.
See what I'm saying? Like, so it's like they allow this shuffle to happen a long time, so they try to do something about it. They want to drain as much money they can get out of it as possible. For somebody to be like, you know what? Just like a rate case. How was a rate case even created? You see what I'm saying? Where did
That's
that
right.
come from?
That's right. I'm not even looking. That's right. And then, you know how when y'all start jumping, and I'll be talking and looking at the screen because they're jumping in. But no, that's right. That's 100% right. A shout out to my sister said, what about when he lied and said streets will be redone? Over. That's right. What about the fight the blight? We're going to go in there. We're going to clean up these areas when they're not keeping the grass cut. Because you have houses next. Yeah, what are they trying to sell? Why not hold it for the property? Absolutely. Why are they not increasing? Why are they not cutting grass? Why are we not looking to increase what's here? The parks that people live next to that catches on fire because of the homeless folks sleeping in the park. Now, mind you, this is a good point, sister. She brought up the property that people live next to, and their property sometimes catches on fire when folks that are just trying to get warm. And I say what it is, that's what folks are doing, and that fire catches on, right? And then you talk about folks living or stealing wiring from the houses to try to, and a lot of those are transients that are taking that money out so they can sell it. And they can get drugs from it, or folks that are using the city for drugs. And then the folks that are local to the city, a lot of times they know where they can go and they can burn a fire and they can get some warmth, right? So to your point there, we had a plan to address that.
Yep.
And I want you to understand, Sister Lindsay, how much that plays into this. So 60 of those people, and probably more because some of them were families, maybe brothers that could live together.
Exactly.
So perhaps potentially 1 to 150 of those people, which is half of our homeless population, would have been in houses and not needing next winter to burn anything. And Mayor Horn canceled that and instead gave that $2.9 million to a consulting firm that we're going to look up over the next few days. And I bet you, I'll say this to you, I bet you we find something about that consulting firm that is not sitting right at all with us. But that's 100. And then what's happening now? So while you canceled and let's slow this down and really grasp it. You canceled the tiny houses or the response. You then gave the money to another place for them to do it. Now watch, we're gonna take this call and watch how that folds out.
We're gonna make sense, call you on there.
That thing's been down the whole time.
Yeah, and I love what you're saying, but I like to look at it from a different perspective.
Yes, sir.
Get rid of on the water. It will return to you in a few days. They've cast us on the water as slaves.
That's right.
They've taken us now to the point that they've accepted us and misgrading us through education, through religion, through everything. Now, how are they benefit? By building more jails, by tearing down houses, making our individuals back. They have made a mint off of us. We've been here as slaves, but look at it. Yeah, we have just been taken advantage of, even through the hospital, everything we like.
That's right.
Y'all are making history right now on the radio by talking about this. Do you think they're going to carry this type of conversation on? Once it's long, it's long. So if we don't repeat our history by talking about it, telling people what we've gone through, telling them how we've been miscrewed, telling them how they're taking advantage of us, they move to the neighborhood, they put the store, we support the store, we build. We got to start keeping this type of history in our face to tell other folks what's going to happen if you keep going down the same road.
That's right. That's right.
I congratulate y'all on what y'all are doing. Y'all have made history. You made a lot of folks happy, but they don't like you. They not because you're not a part of the plan. You're a part of awakening people that are being taken advantage of, especially us. So God bless you. Keep the good work up. Great speaking.
We appreciate you, my brother, and keep that support up. We appreciate you more than you know.
Well, it make sense, call you on there.
Well, praise the Lord, I'm enjoying the show, but I really was calling that you all have walked away from the mic. We barely can hear what you're saying, so it is very important that we can hear you, so you can, the caller, we really don't hear too much of anything. So, and it's, you faded away as well, so.
Has it been like that the whole show? And thank you so much, first off, my sister. Has it been like that the whole show or just recently?
No, just in the last 10 minutes, the last
Okay.
call, right before you were talking about, you know, as far as him taking the money to use it, about 10 minutes, you're not close to the mic.
Okay. And hopefully this will be a lot better. Thank you so much, my sister. That's how we do it. I appreciate you. And thank you for listening, too.
Oh, yes, definitely.
Yes, ma'am. No, thank you. I noticed it was off, so I had just clicked it on, so I'm sorry about that, you all. But to the brother's point, you know, and I talk to the young man about it a lot. You know, when we do it, we'll tell him you don't understand the moment you're in sometimes. This is a very big moment because, you know, we're not in the business of thinking about ourselves before thinking about the truth, right? But the brother is 100% correct.
Yeah.
And I know we're in a historic moment. I know it. I can feel it every day. D can feel it. The young man is starting to feel it. I know this is historic because you're responding, and that's what makes this historic. People can run their mouths all day. If you're not affecting the people, then it doesn't matter. And see, right now, you know that you can say, if a preacher is in my community taking money and saying they're going to help me and they're not, those days are over without their name being called out. You know that if a politician is sitting inside of City Hall and they are not standing up for us, they can no longer do that without their name being called out. You know a mayor or senator cannot sit in office for 30 years and then have expertise in areas and not help us adequately and their name not get called out. There is nobody that's above the people. There should be no fear ever of holding these folks accountable. And when I talk about Justice Gibbs, when I talk about Reverend Crudup, when I talk about what's the judge's name that is his chief of staff? Well, that's Northington now. When I talk about Kathy Northington, when I talk about Mayor Horn, Grizel, Kevin, Lakeisha, I forget names, Tina, Ashby. When I talk about these people, first off, I say that name to my young people for a reason. They all human beings, and especially you people that are 30 plus with children. Ashby, that's what you need to start doing. Kevin, John, drop all these titles that make people think they're above you. When you say, hey, John, let me talk to you, sir. You bleed just like me. You sit down just like me. You stand up just like. We're going to have to throw all these titles out, especially if you ain't done nothing to earn that title. I should put a title of reverence on you if you've earned that reverence. Not because you got elected or you got appointed by our oppressors to that reverence. Because that's what's happening now. So when you see your mayor, John, you stop him and you talk to him. And when you see your account, whether it's Zakia, whether it's Benny, whether it's Vernon, you better make these people understand that they regular and they owe you something. For you get you what they say, they just out here giving it out.
Well, they make sense because they on there.
I gotta get that down pat.
Yes, you are absolutely correct about holding people elected for these positions because Brazil is done. He has not done anything that he said he was gonna do. He just got the title position as councilman. Did they make him president? He hasn't done anything. So people need to think real long and hard when they go back to these polls to vote for these city councilors. They need to think and look about what have they done. Talk is cheap, but actions speak louder than words.
You're absolutely right, sister, and I appreciate you. What he did do was go down to with surrender singing with the Indian church and sit with those people inside that church humbly. He had time for them. And all of a sudden, they're getting a lot of benefits in the community with hotels and forth.
Well, he made time what he wants to, and then just gonna keep him in there. But people better wake up and smell the coffee because all these folks elected. Don't keep me in there.
You just lose it for nothing. Thank you, my sister. I agree with you 100%. Thank you. And yesterday's price is not today's price. That's what we're going to end with. You understand that? You hear the calls coming in, and we're going to keep talking. Yesterday's price is not today's price. We're not out here talking gossip. We're talking about what you're not doing. We're talking about you putting up graffiti signs for 20 years and thinking it's sweet. Yesterday's price is not today's price. We're talking about you doing nothing for your ward and then thinking you can show up everywhere that we are and everything's just going to be okay. Ward 3 got sick of it. Ward 5 gets sick of it. What's that's Ward, that's not 6, 4. Ward 4 getting sick of it. Them calls keep coming. And can't nobody stop this voice. We've already connected you to our pulse. We connected now. It just matters how we're going to talk to you. Think about whether it's the black book or whether it's the phone book back in the day. It doesn't matter how we're going to get to you. We're locked in together now. Jackson, these United States, in this country, we are locked in with you. Nobody can break that vein that's there. And we did that for you to ensure we always going to be here. Because the type of pushback we're seeing lets us know we're hitting gold. All right. And what do I mean by hitting gold? We hitting something that could change the currency together, where all of us start swimming downward at the same time. Mr. Tenderism, you saw everyone swim down at the same time. I don't care what you think. At least I'm not talking about Dr. King or Obama. At least I got something that happened in the last 40 years, other than every one of our politicians, civil rights, Black History Month. Mm-hmm. All you do is talk about someone from Dr. King's era, Fannie Lou, she would probably be disrespected by you even bringing her name up. Or you talking about Obama. Kudos to all of you all that helped pressure that white man to let go of Mr. Tenderism and let him create this whole thing. Kudos to the brother that stepped in and gave him the business opportunity. Kudos to it all. And a big thumbs down to any of the black people that are sitting up there talking about how good the food is or isn't. Shut your mouth and understand what it looks like to swim down at the same time. That's called taking your dollar back. Yep. Don't be so stupid that you think it's about some food and have a taste. You all are swimming down at the same. The sister that just said Grizel needs to do something better. My brother Jeremy that called in and said Stokes need to do better. The brother that called in and said Harley ain't gonna talk to us like that. And it's gonna keep unfolding. We don't want your name to pop up. You know what we want to hear? We want to hear someone call and say, let me tell you what my councilman just did. They stood up strong. They did this to me. They did that for me. But you notice the same people have this number. They not calling Jackson. Make it make sense. This is the beautiful thought revolution that we promised you all when we started. They can do anything they want to us. They can continue to try, but they cannot stop the thought revolution. And it should burn them up. Your people have been mandated to be told that you have to have a diet of 50% music, 50% garbage, 10% religion, and then maybe 2% of what you can do yourself. This is our diet that we've been fed. You got to start looking at people that is holding that diet up to your mouth, that arsing it up to your mouth in 2026. Look at every other outlet and how much they're planning on what they're going to do tomorrow. Our leaders are traveling and enjoying ourselves. Well, like the sister said, it's time to flip that leadership, brothers and sisters. And listen, there's more than one way to skin a cat. We're going to touch into that the next one. But there's more than one way to skin a cat. Okay? Nobody is sitting in a permanent position. Nobody is untouchable. To the young man's point, you don't remember when they were mad that the previous mayor had a chain on and had a shirt open at one button at the top? They were livid about that. And they tried to call a vote of no confidence in the mayor. Bet you didn't know that you could do that. You see how silly we look, Jackson? They called a vote of no confidence on the last mayor. And ain't nobody called a vote of nothing on this one. Making it look like you like it. And I know what people really feel, but it's making it look like you like it to the outside world. They're saying you know how to stand up against your man because you all roasted the last one. So we know you know how to stand up.
He didn't even come up with no quote to be even against y'all. He got a whole, y'all should be...
Jackson is rising. Jackson is rising. Jackson is rising. Remember Howard Dean. That's great. Like, bro, you can't pretend to be connected to us now.
That's what the Horby says.
Yeah, that's on.
What I'm saying is
He's trying to copy Big Show. I'll tell you real talk. He's trying to copy Big Show. May rest in peace. Free the land, free the land, free the land. That's all he's doing.
I'm
Yeah.
saying the bad folks
Yeah.
complain about y'all.
Oh, when he said they'll settle for breadcrumbs.
Yeah.
Educated, all that stuff. He just told you time and time again how he feel about
Yeah, he's telling you how he feels about you. But guess what? We're telling you how we feel about you as we land this plane. We love you. As KP says, as D says, as I say, we have the absolute best audience in podcast land, and radio land, and talk show history land. I just want to congratulate the young man again for being a leading star host on a show that is now 5 days a week syndicated and reaching a lot of people. So you catch us Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, right here on 90.1, Thursday, Friday, right on We Believe Digital, online, right? And that may come into a radio station later. We're making sure we're spread across for you so that the voice of the people is the voice of the people. And that voice will not be controlled. We can promise you that right now. We'll never be controlled. We'll never be diluted. I'll stand on this crate and talk to you before I let them dilute me. For all sakes and purposes, I may look like a radio host and sound like a radio host, but the revolution will not be televised. We'll see you tomorrow, same time, same place, for my esteemed young co-host, myself, Tark Abdul-Twab, and Mr. Wilson, always leading us in the right direction. We'll see you tomorrow, Jackson. We love you. Keep making it make sense. We out.
My mama